Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Get Ahead series where we demystify the job search and help you get ahead in your job search by asking your questions to live recruiters. We are so excited that you're here with us today. My name is Matt Tibbetts, training director here with Express Employment Professionals, and we couldn't be more excited for you to join us on this conversation. And my tripod, y'all, is about to go sideways, so I'm going to just settle you back up here. Today, we're going to be talking specifically about accounting, and we have a fantastic guest with us today, Jessica Rice. She is an accounting guru. She's been recruiting in this space for the past 8 years, and so can't wait for you to hear from her and ask all of your questions. So please go ahead and take a moment, start dropping your questions into the comments. We're going to get to many of your live questions as we possibly can. So can't wait for you to have those and can't wait to answer those with you today. So, Jessica, without further ado, welcome to the show today. We're so glad you're here.
Hi, Matt. It's great to be here.
You see my earthquake going on here, trying to get straightened out. So tell us your story about accounting. How did you get into it?
I feel like accounting found me. I am deeply passionate about this space now. When I started in recruiting, it was a known industry to me, but it wasn't an industry that I fully had the same level of passion and appreciation that I do now have for it. It's, I would say, probably the most stable industry out of every industry that I've worked in my almost 8 years with Express. And I just love how every business, regardless of its size, or tenure, it always needs a great accounting and finance professional, whether it's a team or it's one really amazing rock star. I feel like what makes a business successful is having a really good accounting, operational, and finance team behind the business. So I'm super excited to share more with you.
I love it. It's just, we were talking just before we get started here about living in the Pacific Northwest. And I'm reading a book called Shoe Dog by the creator of Nike. And he actually got his CPA as he got started as he was getting Nike going back in the day. And so to your point, accounting is a critical part of business to know how things work and, all that good stuff. And you were saying your owners have actually worked for the Big Four, like they're from accounting.
Yes. So when I started with Team Bellevue, it was the second ownership team that I had worked for kind of the middle of my 8 years. I jumped into Team Bellevue Express, owned by two former Big Four. Jake and Britt Domer actually met and fell in love during their time at Deloitte. So they are deeply passionate about public accounting, about accounting and finance, and every recruiter that they bring into their team, they sort of ooze this passion and strength and amazing industry knowledge that just sort of rubs off on you. And you can't spend more than a couple minutes with them without learning how brilliant they are, how numbers drive their business, how metrics really create success and motivation for our team. And we as a team track constantly where we're at with the numbers, everything from our gross margin to our activity. We are a numbers driven business, and we try to translate that to our clients by giving them great numbers people for their businesses.
That's awesome. I love that. That's such a cool part of you guys' history. I love that. So
Absolutely.
tell me, what top positions are you recruiting for right now, or what kinds of accounting finance positions do you even look for?
That's a great question, Matt. So the way that we train and the way that we develop our ongoing strategy around sales and development of accounting and finance is kind of in the pyramid model. So if you think about a pyramid, you're thinking about the base level is operational accounting, and then you're going to go up into staff accounting, senior accounting, all the way up into senior level accounting, beyond senior accountants up to financial planning, analysis, controllers, accounting managers, all the way up to the C-suite. And we staff everything in between. So you think about this perfect pyramid. We're all the way here up to here.
That's a ton. So you've interacted with everybody from just getting started in their accounting career to somebody that's in their prime, that's leading departments and everything between. So cool. So what's your advice? Let's go right for the meat of it. What is your advice right now for accounting and finance positions, people looking for accountants and finance positions? What is your advice to help them get ahead?
Well, I'll start out by saying that if you're in the accounting and finance industry, I think you're already a step ahead because, as we were saying, accounting and finance is necessary for every business. And so far, it seems to be the COVID-proof industry. businesses still need accounting and finance talent, even if they're working remote. We've actually had a lot of people start virtually in the accounting and finance space during this first half of 2020. And it seems to be the ongoing consistent ask that every business needs, whether it's an operational accounting professional all the way up to the C-suite and everything in between. And so my advice is, if you're considering accounting or finance, that's a really stable market to consistently build your industry knowledge, your technical abilities, and your education in that pathway. And it does seem to be an ongoing need, regardless of what's going on in the world.
That's
and sorry, my advice would be to make sure that if you're in the accounting and finance industry currently, that you're staying very current with what's going on with technology. We know that data drives the business, and within accounting and finance, the numbers are the data that we're measuring. We're seeing a lot of clients moving into data visualization as they're doing data analytics, Power BI, SQL, any additional tools and certifications that you can build out your tool and your technical ability as an accounting or finance professional. It will give you a leg up, and it will most likely give you opportunities into larger corporations like the Microsofts of the world, because they want you to plug and play. They want you to help them with their data story. And as a finance or accounting professional, you want to be super tech savvy. So start with Excel, build from there, and just make sure that you're very clear about the tools and softwares that you've used up to every point in your career, just so you can tell the story of how tech savvy you are and how you can influence and automate a lot of the functions that are part of your role to help make the business more efficient.
That's great. I love that. So you mentioned Excel for sure. Make sure that you've got, if you know Excel, make sure it's not missing on your resume, right? Like make sure you've got that on there. If you were to even take that a step further, and so you mentioned before Excel and then Power BI and SQL. If you were to take that a step further and on your resume, how can you kind of quantify how much you know about those? Like if I just put Excel, well, does that mean I can open a spreadsheet or can I do anything? So what would you say to someone like me that's trying to put Excel on my resume?
Absolutely. So most of the professionals that I work with, if they don't already have it listed on their resume, I'll encourage them to list the tools and softwares that they've used in sort of a technical component of their resume. Some people will list it at the bottom with their education. Other people will list it at the top as part of a summary of their skill set and expertise. And I know, especially in the Seattle Bellevue market, where we are working with so many tech companies, every business that we support wants to know, hey, you're tech savvy, you know how to use tools, tell us which systems you've used, have you done automation, have you done systems conversions? Like every company wants to know, hey, you can plug and play in this very tech savvy industry market and pocket of industry focus that we're in. Every tech company wants you to be able to play with their tools.
I love that. Very good. Awesome. So make sure, what I'm hearing you say is make sure it's on your resume, and tell us more. So you said you could put it in your technical kind of bucket, your education, but you could also put it in a summary. Tell us about like making a good summary stand out as an accounting finance professional.
Absolutely. So kind of my top 3 tips that I ask every accounting finance professional that's working with me on a new opportunity is to get really clear about kind of their why them. So why should a company be interested in them? At the top of the resume, you can have a really clear statement about sort of the summary blurb of, why you? Why is John Smith the best senior accountant that I should be representing? So that's sort of a summary of area of focus. Following that, there's a summary statement talking about areas of focus within industry, technical ability, and areas of expertise. I always like to sort of have the overarching, here's who I am, here's the quick summary, and then here are the bullet points of why you should be working with me. That can include your technology and systems and tools abilities, and it should also include your industry focus. I also like to encourage people, if they have been more of a contract or project-based consultant, to list that in a consulting bracket of information on the top of their resume. So instead of listing dates and making it look like they had a 2-month job or a 3-month job or a 6-month job, they should be listing the industries that they worked in and a summary of their accomplishments within that time period. So say I'm working with a CPA who's been a consultant, he was a former full-time employee, he got into consulting because he was a subject matter expert with system conversion. Within that scenario, he can talk about every single company and every industry that he partnered with in a summary statement where he's highlighting, here are all the systems conversions that I did, here are the industries that I did those systems conversions in, and listed as a full date range where it's, hey, here's when you started consulting to present, so that he's not boxing himself out of the interview selection process, where a hiring manager may look at that and say, well, you've had 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 7-month gigs. You're not stable. versus saying, hey, I'm an expert in these areas. I've been consulting for the past 3.5 years at all these different companies because they love my knowledge base.
That's so good. Y'all, that is gold. And that's a tip right there that if you're doing that with your resume right now, there's a chance that you're getting passed over, not because you don't have the experience, but because people are thinking you're a job hopper, which is not
Mhm.
true. You're consulting on these different projects and you're finishing them, you're completing them, you're delivering great results, you're getting referrals, you're continuing a job. And so that right there is a pro tip. Jessica, I love that you shared that. So put together all of your consulting jobs under one title, one banner, and list them out and what you accomplished, and make it so that it's a continuous space of time. From 2010 to 2020, instead of these 6 month or 3 month increments that don't don't always seem to add up for the hiring manager. They don't know what they're looking at if you don't tell them the story.
And I would add to that for the more kind of career track professionals who are going to spend 2 to 3 years at a company, the pop and the sizzle for you as an accounting and finance professional is to talk about the quantifiable successes that you've had. How much money did you save? What was the revenue of the company that you're partnering with? How long did the system conversion take? Were you able to process and improve certain areas? Were you able to create greater efficiencies? If you put your numbers into a win or a most significant accomplishment of that time that you spent with that company, why would they hire you back? Because you saved them money. Okay, how much money? That's a pop and a sizzle that you can put as a quantifiable bullet point in each one of your either full-time roles to talk about why that company was benefited by your expertise, or if you list each of your consulting gigs and you talk about your quantifiable success there, that's also again a measurable win. And that's a measurable point of your success that you can highlight for your future employer.
I love that. That's so good because it makes such a big difference if you have collected, 100 invoices a month, or if you've collected 1,000, if you've processed, uh, you know, at $10,000 of checks a week, or $100,000 of checks a week, or you save the company $250,000, or you save the company $25,000. It makes that all the difference when you add numbers. So
And I'll add to that too. Accounting and finance professionals are brilliant, and they often are not super natural at selling themselves. Even if they have wild success, incredible quantifiable measures of their success, it's not usually their first thing to brag about themselves. So they need a good recruiter to push them to say, here's why I'm the best senior accountant that you'll ever meet, or here's why I'm the best financial analyst that you'll ever meet. Let me tell you about the quantifiable successes that I had. It's numbers people telling their success in a numbers story, and it helps them brag in a way that is very black and white and super measurable. And it's an easy way for me as their recruiter to help sell them and get them into these great opportunities.
I love that. And I think you've mentioned so many different realms of accounting and finance. Like there's different ways you can take your career. So partnering with a good recruiter, a good mentor, a good source that's kind of been down this road, has seen careers develop, can really help you tell your story, to help you share where
Absolutely.
you want to go. It's so good. That's awesome. Well, let's get into some of the questions here that we're getting in. So Russ has this question. I'm in corporate accounting. Any advice for transitioning to personal financial planning?
I'm so glad you asked this question. This is not a question that we hear traditionally in the accounting and finance space. That's kind of a gear shift. And I was chatting with one of my mentors, my boss, Jake Jomer, yesterday, who is, again, a former major public accounting career track, has gone through so many different levels of leadership in his accounting and finance career. And we talked about how finance is a role that's really different based on your industry. So a director of finance at Microsoft is going to have a different focus than a financial advisor versus someone who's doing finance for automotive industry deals. So when you think about kind of your career pathway in accounting and finance, like pure, true traditional accounting and finance versus moving into financial planning and advising, the main component would be to have that finance acumen and knowledge, to also be realizing that you're moving from like an operational accounting and finance layer of the business into more of a sales capacity where your finance acumen will benefit you, but you're going to actually be pushing and developing and creating product advice for your clients versus just telling the story of the numbers and what the business is doing today on the accounting side versus what we're forecasting and planning on the finance side. So it definitely still is connected to finance, but it has a much greater advisory and finance and sales track than you would think for traditional accounting and finance professionals.
Mm, that's good. It's good. And I've heard you say this before too, but know your why of why you're wanting to do it. Like, what is the like? Is it is there something about the job that really pulls you to it? If there is, then great, tune into that. But if there's not, make sure that it is aligning with why how you like to work each day, why you come into work each day. Tell us, kind of share unpack that a little bit more for us, kind of discovering that why in there.
Yes, so Matt, I'm super passionate about this. I tell this to my internal team. I ask this of my clients. I tell this to my candidates. If you don't know your why, then you're never going to be able to actually accomplish your goals. You need to know what motivates you, why you're wanting to accomplish it, and why you'll continue to keep reaching for it and striving for it as you go through the ups and downs of everyone's career pathway, life, personal, professional. If your why isn't clear, then your accomplishments will never be realized. So the first thing I do when I sit down with a client who's looking for an accounting and finance professional to join their team is, why do you need this person? What's going on in your business? What are you trying to accomplish and where do you want to go? So the why is kind of this holistic, why are we having this conversation? I would say the same thing for the candidates is the, why are you thinking about a new opportunity? Where are you going? And why do you want to make a change? What is that driving you towards? And what's your end game? Where do you want to be in the next 3 to 5 years? What do you want your resume to look like? Are you trying to switch into a different part of the industry because you are motivated by sales, or you're looking for a different pay structure, or you want to expand your education and your knowledge? Really getting to the why someone's motivated to make a change is really the most important question to ask, whether you're a candidate, a client, or for your own career. For me as a recruiter, my why is definitely tied to passionately helping people get clear about what their why is.
I love that. Yeah, start with why, right? Simon Sinek. I love it. Start with why. Love that just comes out of you. It's so good.
Absolutely.
So good. John asks another great question here. So let's go to the next question. John asks, what type of groups or organizations should I join that are specifically focused on accounting? I know that from being a recruiter, I've joined like Society of Human Resources Management before and things like that. Are there groups like that for accounting?
Absolutely, there are. And I'm going to go to the virtual world that we're in today because with this fun year of COVID-19 and everyone working remote, there's a lot of online industry groups that you can participate in. I'm a huge fan of the LinkedIn activity. There are multiple groups and people that you can follow, influencers. There are peer groups that you can join. There are specific societies that you can join. But I would spend some time as an accounting and finance professional to look and do the research on which groups you do feel like are most aligned with your why, like where are you trying to get to and who do you want to be surrounded by as influencers and peers that are trying to accomplish the same thing.
That's awesome. And so LinkedIn, great source for that. And if you just kind of typed into the search bar, accounting and finance, type, kind of some of those words, you'll start finding some good groups.
Yeah, and if you're in any groups currently, you can kind of see like how they're ranked. There are some groups that you have to have permission to get into. You have to be approved. You have to demonstrate industry knowledge, experience, or current track record of success in order to be accepted. There's a lot of different groups, but I would just encourage people to go network with your peers, network with companies that you're interested in, learn about them, and just use all of the virtual tools that we have to connect with each other. It's such a great time to do that because almost is working from home. So we all are super into the technology space and our hours of business are different. We're using technology differently. If anyone wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, I have some specific tools and groups that I can share with you. Just message me. But I'd love to kind of know what you're trying to accomplish and who I can help you plug in with.
Love it. Love it. Great advice there. All right, next question. Rachel wants to know, I just graduated with a degree in accounting. Congratulations, Rachel. What type of interview questions can I expect in my job search?
It's a great question. Congratulations, Rachel. I would say, first of all, companies are going to want to know, do you have any work experience that goes along with your education? So your education is phenomenal. I would encourage every student to consider internships during their program and their development phase, just so that they're getting exposure to different industries and getting clear about what type of accounting and finance they want to do when they graduate. If you haven't had an opportunity to do those internships, I would get really clear about which area of the industry do you want to work in, and then also go in and know that they're going to probably start you at a level that maybe you're going to have to work your way up. So you're going to have to be prepared to talk about your education, your knowledge base, your technical abilities, what kinds of recommendations you've been able to get so far. So maybe it's professors, or if you have internships that you've accomplished, then you can reference those companies just so that people can talk about, the why you. Why you is probably an ongoing traditional interview question that sort of continues throughout your pathway of becoming successful in accounting and finance. And again, I don't expect everyone to be super great at selling themselves. So again, I would think about your quantifiable why me. Did you have a great GPA? Are you a master expert in certain technical tools? Do you have a knack for financial analytics? Just think about the why you and your sizzle points. And if they're not tied to practical experience, I would tie them to education and technical tools and abilities that you've developed.
That's so good. Because I know that as a recruiter myself, when I've interviewed people, I'm trying to figure out their story. Like, why are you interested in this position? And even if it's as simple as, when I was in high school, I discovered that I was really good at numbers and I really liked them. And I liked how they always ended up equaling out. And they always, there's always a solution that I could figure out. So I discovered that in college, I could pursue that kind of degree and I could work in this full time. If you can tell that story, it just makes sense for a hiring manager. Like, okay, I can see how this person, like why they have passion for it and how they could be competent around it too.
I'll also say too, for recent grads, you sort of have this cool up and comer umbrella over your head where companies are going to seek you out for your education, for your passion, and they want to understand why you're interested in them as a company. So part of your why should you be interested in me is that here's why I'm interested in you, and here's how I want to continue to add to your success, and here's why you're an interesting employer to me, and how can I come in and make a greater impact, and how can you mold and build someone like me into the core of your success. And up and comers are a professional profile that is very attractive to a lot of companies because they like that moldable blended capacity for you're brand new in the workforce. You have this great education and knowledge based on everything you just learned in school. Now let's teach you how to apply it to our industry and our business.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great advice. I love it, Jessica. Lauren has this question. Next question up. I have 20 plus years of accounting experience. So this is somebody right in their prime of their experience right now. Is there anything I should be getting trained on to stay relevant in the job market? So anything in particular that saying like, yeah, get trained on this couple of things. This will help you stay relevant.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go back to tools and technical ability. I sound like a broken record, but every single accounting professional and finance professional that I partner with, I want to know what they've done. What are their successes? How can they set themselves apart? What are they doing to keep themselves really technically sound and advanced in this space? Who are they trying to get a job with? If they're going to come to me and they're saying, hey, I want to go work with Microsoft, I'll say, great. How is your data skills? Have you worked in Excel? Have you done data visualization? Have you worked with Power BI? How do you feel about spending your life in the data and financial reporting? And are you being able to jump right into all of the Microsoft Suite platform tools and play in that space? As an accounting and finance professional, you want to be as technically deep as you possibly can and constantly do ongoing education for yourself. And Microsoft, for example, has a lot of additional tools and platforms that you can go sign up for subscriptions. You can take ongoing classes. They'll measure you on where you are today versus where you want to get to. And I would just say, don't stop learning. Don't stop building your technical skills.
Great advice. Yeah, that's so good. Love it. Man, I've learned so much from you from accounting finance. I didn't know any of this. So this is awesome.
You want to become an accountant now, right?
I know. I'm like, what's with this training gig? I'm gonna go start doing some accounting. This is awesome.
There you
go. Well, Jess, we could spend all day together. I love it, but we have to land the plane here. So last question from James. What changes have happened in the accounting field since COVID-19?
Great question. I think that what we're seeing is an ongoing need for people to be able to fully function remotely. We've shipped more laptops for virtual remote associates who are starting as project-based consultants in the field. And a lot of these people are industry former FTEs who wanted to move into consulting because they want the flexibility. They want to be able to work remote. I think probably if I had $1 for every candidate that I talk to that's like, hey, I'm happy to interview if they'll let me work remote. That's sort of our new normal. So that's again where your technical skills come into play, your ability to work with technology. And then I would also say, when you're thinking about where your life was before COVID-19 to now, you need to have a good bench of people that can vouch for your skills and abilities. So I would say if you haven't thought about your top 5 references, people that can recommend your skill set and can say, hey, this person has the finance and accounting chops to work remotely. They're great with systems, they're good with tools. They are a lot of remote muscle that I can deploy to keep my business moving, even if they're sitting in their home office versus sitting downtown in my business that I'm waiting to reopen. I think it's just sort of that strategic appreciation for, we'll keep the work moving. Every business needs accounting and finance talent. Be on top of your technical abilities and make sure you're marketing yourself well based on your past success. So your references and a really well built resume. And then I'll just add to that LinkedIn recommendations. There's 2 areas on your LinkedIn that I would encourage everyone to update and to ask for not only written recommendations, but also for people to recommend your top skill set. And I would have every happy past employer that you worked for give you a recommendation and recommend your skill set. And then also add that as an area of strength on your resume.
Great advice. Love it. Jessica, you are chock full of good words, good advice. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are better for it. And I'm so glad that you came on today. I've learned a ton. And I know that our viewers have too. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. And everyone, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Again, I'm Jessica Rice. I work in the Bellevue office of Express, and I am deeply passionate about helping to support your accounting and finance career pathways. So please hit me up. Thank you again, Matt. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, you're so welcome. Well, thank you. And I know, Jessica, I know that if you are not located in Bellevue, Washington, she'll point you in the right direction too. So don't hesitate
100%.
to connect with either one of us. We're active on LinkedIn. We'd love to see you on there and help you get ahead in your search. If you're accounting and finance professional right now, looking to make that next step, hit us up. We'd love to talk to you. And of course, with Express, we work with a variety of other positions too. So reach out to us regardless of what you're looking for.
Well, and we're guys, global.
Yes, we are. We're global.
So we've got an awesome network.
In South Africa, in Australia, New Zealand. And so, yes, please connect with us. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. We hope that you enjoyed this conversation. We hope that you got something valuable from it that will help you in your search. All of our videos and all of our on-demand Get Ahead series is all available at expresspros.com/getahead. So definitely recommend that as a resource. Go check it out. We've done videos on resume writing and interview tips and a whole slew of other topics and resources. So go check that out at expresspros.com/getahead. Hope you can check us out there. Also, in just a few weeks from now, August 6th, we are having National Interview Day. And so National Interview Day is a day that we kind of promote all across the nation internationally that we are interviewing, we're hiring. And right now, all across the country, we are hiring for many, many positions. And mark your calendars, August 6th, we're going to have a special program going on that day. So please join us for that as well. You can check it out on Facebook or expresspros.com/interview day. So hope you can join us there. Well, y'all, this is the end of our time together. Happy belated Canada to all my Canadians Canada Day to all my Canadian friends, and happy 4th of July. Happy early 4th of July to all of our American friends. Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you have a great rest of your day, great weekend coming up.